But if we underperform sometimes, we reconcile that as our new normal when it's not. It's you just had a bad day. You just had a bad day at the office. You just had a bad shot.
I think all of this is like a symptom of the self-worth. Like if you've got high self-worth, you choose to view things in a way that's advantageous to you. And I recognize this, me playing against myself so often. And I realized this probably took me a long time, probably 6 months ago, where I went, holy crap, I'm often choosing to view a situation in a way that's not like serving for me. And I looked at Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor just had the worst couple of years of his life. He was doing drugs. He was breaking the law. Everyone was kind of thinking, who is this smuck that's just going out doing all this crap? And he gets through to the end of it and kind of realizes it. And then he's being asked by reporters, you did this and this. And he's like, yep, I did it. But now I've learned from it. I'm stronger. I agree with what you said. I let people down and now I'm here and I'm better than ever. A lot of people would choose to go through that and feel shame and feel guilt and feel low about it. I definitely would initially based on my patterning from the past. But now when I realize, hang on, you can choose to view it duffing a golf shot as a way of like, you can accept it and be like, oh, sweet, that was my chance. You can just frame it in a way that's going to be advantageous for you. Wow, that was just a little test from the universe to give me an extra little bit of strength to come back and be even better. Or that's a learning experience. Now I'm going to move on from it. And I feel like if you find yourself always leaning on the negative or the disempowering frame, not only is it really, really, it's a lot more powerful in the adverse way if you're framing things negatively. I listened to a podcast the other day where they were talking about negative thinking is 4 to 7 times more powerful than positive thinking. So if you have a positive thought in your mind, you look at an affirmation or a vision board or something, that might be worth 10 units of positivity. But then if you think in your head, oh, you still haven't launched that marketing campaign you said you were going to do, you're a piece of shit, then you've actually gone back 70 points. So now you're negative 60. And if you say that negative thing, take it from a thought to an actual verbalizing it out loud, it 10x's the negative impact. So it actually go back another 700. It's like, what? That's crazy. And a lot of people just are in the rhythm of looking at a situation in a way where they're going to demonize themselves because of it, as opposed to frame it to their advantage.
And that's where, for me, that acceptance strategy, right? The whole everything's happening the way it's supposed to happen because it is, and it was supposed to be like that. Like, it's helped me reconcile some crazy things in my life, man. Like, it really has. And what also comes with that is the overwhelming levels of optimism, right? Because you got 2 ways to think. You can either look at the negative or you can look at the positive. Which would you rather choose? Now, of course, if you sat down with someone and go, of course I'd rather choose the positive, unless they're addicted to the negative
victim mode
outcomes. But so it's like, okay, cool. So what can you do to enhance because I think, being optimistic, I feel there's definitely an innate thing around it. It's not as easy as I just want to be positive, right? But a lot of that comes around with your surroundings, who you surround yourself with, who are you listening to, and I think it's something that can be taught. You can teach that and instill that new way of thinking or habit within inside of someone. Because if you look at it as a habit, it's like, well, okay, how am I looking at something positive today? I use the concept of like lenses, right? Changing the frame. Go, cool, okay, so this just happened. Let's put on the negative lens. What's the worst thing that could happen here? What's the worst outcome? Okay, cool. Now let's look at the positive lens. What's the best thing that can happen? Right now, actually, funnily enough, I've got a book right here next to me. Something's happening right now in my life where I need to reconcile something, and it's taking a litlittle bit longer, and it's a bit harder for me to reconcile it.
Tell us about it.
I just probably won't right now because I'm midst reconciling it. But here's how I've gone about it. Like right now, and I'm partway through, and I feel I'm maybe another day or so, and this thing will be reconciled, right? Because we are human, and we still have to think through these layers and layers and layers of things. Because especially when it's a multifaceted, there's a lot of things attached to it, and a lot more people and so on and so forth. It becomes more complex, right? But for someone like me, I look at this, and one of the first things I was like, Brett, this is supposed to be happening to you right now, because it is happening. And I'm like, you're right. This is going to be an opportunity for me to, like, this is a Rubik's Cube, like on steroids, right? This is a Rubik's Cube that changes every 20 seconds. So you really got to try and figure this thing out as you're doing it. But one of the things that I do, and an exercise that I do in these times, is I need to write down as many positive outcomes from this situation until I'm overwhelmed and I'm actually sitting there grateful that this thing has happened to me. Right. And I've got some pretty overwhelming positive things that have come from it. And a fair few that I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that. Oh my God, I've been putting that out to the universe. Like I've literally been putting that out to the universe. And this is just the universe's way of saying, hey man, we'll give you a bit of a push or a shove here and there. And you need to figure it out though. But my point there from an exercise perspective, what people can tactically do is flood yourself with overwhelming positive outcomes. And if you're sitting there going, there's nothing positive about it, make it up, pretend. Imagine that you had to come up with some positive things.
Yeah.
Or use it as take yourself out of the situation, because this is the biggest problem with most people. They still keep themselves in the situation, and it's that default back to the poor me, this happened when I was a child, and so all these other limiting beliefs pop up, right? Now, when I say poor me, I'm not discounting people's feelings like at all, but what I'm saying is we turn into that victim, and we're trying to solve something in victim state when we need to remove ourselves. So put someone else in your position and go, okay, if Barry, or if your mate Barry or your friend Sarah was...
If you're from Australia.
Yeah, Bazza.
Mate Bazza.
Bazza and Shazza. Or if you're from France, Francois, if your mate Francois, put him in the situation and go, okay, what if I had to give Francois some positive outcomes, knowing what I know, which is everything about this, what advice would I give for Francois? What are some of the positive things? And start writing them down. I guarantee you'll be able to tap into another layer, and you're going to start to get some better outcomes from it, because you're removing yourself. You're just detaching yourself.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I really like that. There's one thing that I've been trying to build as a habit. It's like a new powerful technique that I've been using. I happen to have, hey, where is it? Oh, there it is. I've got this picture of myself as an old person.
Yeah.
And just as you can... Sorry?
Was that using the app?
Yeah, I was using the app.
I'm glad you're still using you've still got the beard.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not getting rid of that.
Yeah, it's showing my future, because it's going to keep grooming this one. But what we can do is, as our current versions of ourselves, we can go back to the past and change an association to an event. So if you're 10 years old and you went through a really tough time and you got teased heaps, you could be like, man, I had a really sucky upbringing and now I'm, not confident as a result. Or you could be like, I got through one of the hardest times ever, and now I'm, as a result, I've got a really strong kind of sense of self because of it. In the same token, there's a version of you in the future that is wiser, more grounded, just has generally more wisdom. And I look at a picture of myself as an older version, similar to what you're saying there, and I say, well, if I just bring this dude into the situation, what would his perspective be of it? And if I actually take the time to do that, which I'm really striving to build as a habit, because it's powerful when I do it, but I don't always do it. Just the energy that I perceive this future version of me to have is very calming.
Yeah.
Because he's super chilled. He's kind of seen the world. He's gone through all this stuff, and I might be feeling like this thing has to work, but he's just like, dude, chill out. It's what you've already had plenty of success, plenty of failure. Life's not about that. It's about joy. It's about love. It's about interaction. It's about the experience of what you're going through. And it's a really interesting way that I've been able to approach that.